kind of a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Maha, and we're back with you live from the LinkedIn Hub on day 3 of Advertising Week. With me is Warren Kay. He is the VP of Advertising at Under Armour Connected Fitness. So as we were just saying, I'm familiar with Under Armour from the retail, from the products perspective, or I should say like tangible products perspective.
The apparel side.
The apparel side. And so to me, this is a really fascinating way of engaging consumers, and that seems to be the main thing we're all talking about here at Advertising Week. So let's talk a little bit about the thought that went into this, and then look at it, and then we'll look at it more from a brand building perspective.
Great. So Under Armour has built a lot of trust. Has built a lot of trust with our consumers over the 20 years since we've been a brand. And as our CEO and founder likes to say, you build. You build trust in drops and lose it in buckets. So maintaining that integrity and maintaining the relationship with our consumer is at the front of every decision that we make. We knew we needed to get into digital. We knew that the wearable space and the hardware space was evolving, and we wanted to get into the space in a very genuine and authentic way. So about 14 months ago, Kevin and the team set out to acquire assets to build what we now call the Connected Fitness division. We acquired MapMyFitness as the first platform, and that was about 14 months ago. And then earlier in this year, we acquired MyFitnessPal and Endomondo, which is MyFitnessPal is a nutrition tracking app, about 80 million unique users on that platform. And then Endomondo is a fitness tracking app, mostly in Europe. Combined, it's the Connected Fitness division that has around 145 million downloads or users of the application. And the broader strategy is very consistent with Under Armour's mission of making all athletes better. So in the early days, Under Armour made athletes better through great apparel, and now we've added to that mission of making athletes better through digital. We believe if you're not measuring it, then you're not improving it. So we want to help athletes of all types, not just the top 1%, but the average consumer who's trying to live a healthier life, measure their health and fitness activity, and improve on it.
I think this automatically the first thing that comes to my mind is the concept, which is a big concept and a big buzzword here at Advertising Week, which is relevance. Relevance at scale, scaling relevance, all of that stuff. And it seems like this is a really good way of being very relevant to the consumer without being interruptive or disruptive, and the other things that advertisers are concerned about and that brands are concerned about. And so it seems to me that this is a really good way of maintaining that relevance in a way that consumers are actually seeking out.
That's right. So MyFitnessPal has done very little advertising since their inception over 10 years ago, yet they've managed to build an audience of over 80 million downloads. So clearly they are helping and supporting the consumer in a very authentic way. What I love about our strategy is that we also work with advertisers and partners to help them talk to our consumers in a very authentic and genuine way. A great example of that is that we have a product called Fitness Challenges, or a virtual fitness challenge. And that, as the name would suggest, is a way for Under Armour or MapMyFitness to create a consumer experience where they are challenged to reach certain health and fitness objectives. Walk a certain distance, run a certain speed, and brands can sponsor those challenges and reward and recognize consumers for their accomplishments. And it's a great way for a brand to get involved in the journey of a consumer trying to live a healthier life.
That also touches upon, and you talked about this, about the authenticity element. A lot of the creatives, especially, that I've been speaking to, have talked much more about brands, telling their audiences or their consumers much less about, look at the great features of my product, and much more about connecting with them on brand values and brand beliefs and so on. And this seems to be a really good example of that. So I want to talk a little bit about that in terms of the strategy of making sure that whether it's the Under Armour brand or brands that are working with you and partnering with you are conscious of that.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, Under Armour is built on that trust between the consumer and the brand. And as I said earlier, that is the number one most important element of our company. Starting from the early days when Ray Lewis and our marketing mantra was protect this house. We feel like that is our responsibility, is to protect the brand and protect our house, which is Under Armour. And we will only do that in a very genuine and respectful way to the consumer. So we are giving them tools, we are giving them the ability to measure their health, measure their fitness, track all of that information, and to use an advertising word, optimize it. So as a consumer, we're giving them tools to help them live a better and healthier life. And that is a great mission, a great objective, and very consistent with what the Under Armour brand has stood for from the beginning.
From a slightly more technical side, I think digital has burst onto the scene, obviously, and now mobile has as well. So I want to know whether you are kind of always thinking ahead in terms of what your strategy is going to be digitally, what your mobile strategy is going to be, so that you can stay ahead of the game and make sure you are always providing kind of that value add, or that that engagement with consumers.
Right. So Under Armour, and Kevin Plank, our CEO, says this a lot, that the first handshake that we're going to have with the consumer is a digital one. With the breadth and depth of our digital offering today, and 145 plus million downloads of our application, that is an access and a touch point that is much broader than our retail and apparel side of the business.
Yeah.
So we see that as a tremendous opportunity. We are innovating on the hardware and wearable space. We've said publicly that by 2020 we want to have smart clothing. All of our clothing have some sort of tracking device that you can ingest data from and manage it all through a single application. We've built a platform called Under Armour Record, which is really an aggregator of all of your health and fitness data that you can pull in from any one of Under Armour devices. We've also have an open platform strategy, where we know that Under Armour is not going to be the only hardware device that a consumer wants to use. So we also work with over 400 different partners to help them integrate into our platform. So if you're a Garmin, or if you're Timex, or Withings is another great example, these are all really single point tracking devices that consumers want and need and are using, and we feel it's really important that that data is part of our platform. So that's one small example of how we're innovating today, making sure, again, we're staying consistent with our brand vision and values, and creating this open ecosystem to allow the consumer to have the best experience possible in that health and fitness journey.
Well, Warren, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of Advertising Week. There's a lot of interesting stuff being said
there
here.
Really is, yeah.
And I look forward to actually downloading a couple of the apps when I get back home, so I can start being aware of how I'm doing with my workouts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay.